What's up, guys? Jordan here. Wanted to talk a little bit about our out west trip and our itinerary, kind of what we did, what we saw, and some things I could, recommend if you're wanting to take a trip out west. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, I want to say that I would highly recommend going out west. It was one of the best trips I've ever taken. The scenery is absolutely incredible. We took 6 people with us. It was my parents and my sister and her husband and my wife Maddie. So it made everything a little bit cheaper if we split costs and stuff like that. And it just makes the camaraderie and the experience a whole lot better if you have more people. We flew from South Carolina to Rapid City, South Dakota, and there we rented an RV. We had 6 people on the trip, and so that was really the best way to travel for our group of people. The cool thing about the RV is we had plenty of space for groceries and storing our luggage. We had a bathroom on the RV, so while we were traveling, we could easily use the bathroom. We rented the RV from Travel America, and we had a really good experience with them. Another good thing about taking a group of people is you can have multiple drivers as long as they're over the age of 25 years old. We went that route and it made everything a whole lot easier, so just one person wasn't driving all the way throughout the whole trip. As a group, we decided that we were going to stay in hotels 4 of the 7 nights during our trip. Once we got settled with the RV, we headed to the Mud Hole restaurant in Rapid City. And this place was very unique. It honestly looked like a thrift store almost, and the breakfast was really incredible and definitely not your average breakfast menu. So I would really recommend, if you go out that way and kind of decide to take the route that I'm talking about, getting an RV somewhere in Rapid City, I would definitely stop by the Mud Hole. After breakfast, we headed to Mount Rushmore. And then shortly after that, we headed on over to Crazy Horse Monument. It's not that far away, about 30 minutes or so from Mount Rushmore. I do recommend doing both. They had some great history and there's a lot to see and learn at both locations. There was a video at the Crazy Horse Monument that I really enjoyed. It talked a lot about the history and the guy who kind of started the movement to get the Native Americans a monument and build it, and so it's a really cool story. I would highly recommend if you do go there to watch the video. It's really touching how much time and effort he put in to his work and to the Native American people. We left there and went to Custer, South Dakota. There we ate at the Custer Wolf, and this was a really good restaurant. The food and drinks were all really incredible. After that, we visited the Custer County candy store, and they had everything from chocolates to candy to ice cream. A really cool place, just really down to earth people, and I'd highly recommend going there also. We then drove 3 more hours to stay the night in Buffalo. We were headed to Cody, Wyoming the next day, so we just decided to split up the driving, and it gave us a good place to stay the night and get some rest. After that, we finished up driving to Cody, Wyoming, and went to Buffalo Bill's Center of the Wild West. This was an incredible museum. It had about 5 museums worked into one building. Our favorite was the Museum of the Firearms, where they had every gun from every era of time since they were invented. They had interactive games and simulators, and it was just more than a regular museum. Before dinner, we went to Old Trail Town, which is a staged old town with thousands of authentic artifacts and history that showed Buffalo Bill laid out as the original town of Cody, Wyoming in 1895. You do have to pay to get in, but we enjoyed the history, especially after learning so much about Buffalo Bill at the previous museum. That night we had dinner at Cody Steakhouse, and this was easily the best food we had on the trip. They had a ribeye and stuffed lobster as their special for the night. This night we did stay at a campground that also had cabins. It was called Yellowstone Valley Inn, located in Cody, Wyoming. We had a great experience at the campground, and it was surrounded by open fields, so we got to observe some wildlife before sunset, which was really cool. That night we got to see the blood moon, and you got to see a little bit of that time lapse in the intro of this video. The next day we traveled from Cody, Wyoming to West Yellowstone. On the way we stopped at the Buffalo Bill Dam, which was really pretty scenery and had a great photo opportunity. We finally made it to Yellowstone at the east entrance, and it was not overly crowded while we were there. I would say we did get lucky and were told that this entrance had just been reopened due to an avalanche in the past days, and that's just something to kind of keep in mind, because going early in May could still be too cold where things are closed, but going too late could make the park very crowded and hard to park. So we went the 13th through the 21st of May, and it worked out really well for us. Once we got there, we saw a lot of geysers, including Dragon's Mouth Springs, Norris Geyser, Mammoth Springs, many waterfalls, and the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone, which was very incredible. Everywhere you turn, there is wildlife up close to the roads. Do educate yourself on the wildlife. They can be very dangerous, and they deserve respect when, we're in their habitat. There are signs explaining how people die every year from getting too close, so I do suggest bringing some binoculars with you. This night we stayed in West Yellowstone and entered back into the park to finish up all the things in Yellowstone that we didn't get to see on the first day. We spent a lot of time at Old Faithful, a very popular geyser that erupts about 20 times daily. We saw the first eruption in overcast and foggy weather and stayed around this area for another hour and a half or so to see the second eruption in a less foggy weather condition. After leaving Yellowstone, we headed to the Tetons, which were just breathtaking and beautiful. We stopped at Oxbow Bend Turnout, and this was probably one of the most beautiful views, in my opinion, we had during the trip. Our next stop was at Lake Jenny, and we took a ferry across, which allowed us to hike 1 mile to Hidden Falls and then Inspiration Point. This was kind of challenging because one, there was a little bit of snow on the ground, but also it's a very steep terrain. Highly recommend being prepared for that. The cool thing is, on this particular adventure, we did see a moose when we were on top of the mountain, so we tried to hike down quickly to get a closer look at him. Headed to Jackson Hole for the night and had dinner at Pinky G's, which was very good pizza. That next morning we visited the Chapel of the Transfiguration, and it's a church that still meets on a weekly basis, but the Tetons look very beautiful behind it, so it just makes it for a great stop and photos. We did a lot of relaxing and shopping in Jackson Hole, so I did not film much, but the one thing we did is rent side-by-sides for half a day, so I do recommend this excursion. It was fun to drive them freely, and the company gives you a map, so you're not completely lost, you do know where to go. We rented from Jackson Hole ATV Adventure Rentals, and we really had a great experience renting from them. For breakfast in Jackson, we do recommend the Bunnery. Everything we had was delicious, and it's all homemade from scratch in their restaurant. Once we left Jackson, we spent our last day driving back to Rapid City, which was kind of nice because we had been traveling so much over the past week. It was kind of good to slowly, gradually, take our time. I don't like being in a rush, so that really helped for me with the trip. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Pretty much just a rundown of what we did out west and our itinerary. I hope you enjoyed the footage, and I really do encourage you to get out there and just enjoy God's creation and everything He's blessed us with. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope all of you that have watched this video get to go out west and enjoy creation soon. We'll see you next time.